everyone, in this lesson we are going to be looking at materials and how they differ from Unity to Godot, while also looking at how they are similar. So here inside of Unity I've got three different kinds of materials: this basic glossy red, a gold, and an emissive material. Now let's hop over to Godot and have a look at how we can recreate these and how their material system works. So here inside Godot, I have a very similar scene layout, and materials in Godot behave very similar to how they are inside of Unity. In Unity, we create a material asset, which we can then apply to a mesh. The same thing is for Godot. Now, to create that asset, what we need to do is go down to our file system. I'm going to go to my materials folder that I've created right here, right-click on it, go create new, and we're going to click on resource. Okay, resource is the general term given to an asset inside of Godot. And here we can choose all the different types of possible resources to create. I'm going to search for material. Now you'll see here we have a list of different types of materials, sky materials, fog materials, but what we're going to do is go down to where we have standard material 3D. This is the equivalent of Unity's material asset, and click create. And I'm just going to call this one basic as it was in Unity. Now, if I open up the folder, you'll see here we have that basic material right here, and it even has a little preview icon as well. Now, if we double click it, you'll see in the inspector, we have all of the material properties appearing here. Again, very similar to Unity. So if I go down to albedo, for example, and open that up, I can change the albedo color by selecting the box here and modifying that in this little color picker here. Now, Godot's color picker is pretty advanced. There's lots of different options for you to choose from. You can choose from RGB, hue saturation value, etc. And you can also change the little color picker window up here as well by clicking on this little icon and then choosing what you want. So if you want a more Unity-centric sort of color picker, you can choose the HSV rectangle, which as you can see is very similar to the one in Unity. And then to apply a material, what we're going to do is, just like in Unity, click and drag it on like so. But if you want to go ahead and manually add it by going through the inspector, you can select the mesh instance that you want to apply the material to. Then inside of the inspector, go down to the geometry settings and to where it says material override and drag that in like so. And there we go. Now, let's have a look at these different material settings. So, inside of the inspector, you may want to be able to change the smoothness or the metallic values, which are the two main sliders in the Unity material. Well, metallic can be found down here, where we have our metallic value from 0 all the way up to 1. And then down here in roughness is where we have our smoothness, okay? And it's kind of the opposite value. A roughness value of 1 will make basically 0 reflections, whereas a roughness value of 0 will treat it as if it's glass, okay? So you can change the smoothness with the roughness value right here. Now, let's go ahead and try and recreate that gold material. So I'm going to right click on materials, create new resource. Let's create a new standard material 3D and call this one gold. We can then drag it onto the mesh like so, just like in Unity. And then here inside the inspector, I'm going to go to albedo. I'm going to change the albedo color to be a nice golden orange, something like that. Then I'm going to go down to metallic, drag that all the way to the top to number 1, and then roughness, we're going to bring that around halfway. And there we go, we've got our nice golden material. Now, how about emission? Well, that's done in a very similar way as well. Let's create a new material right here, and I'm going to call this one emission. Then we can drag this on to the model here. Now, inside the inspector, we're going to go down to where we have emission right here. And this is not a drop-down menu like the others, but rather a toggleable feature. So we have to go over and enable emission. Then what we can do is change the emission color. So we can click on this. I'm going to make this a nice blue. You can see that's going to change right here, but there's no glow. Now, to make sure that there is a glow, you have to do two things. First of all, you can increase the energy multiplier right here, which is essentially like increasing the intensity inside of Unity. Alternatively, you can increase the intensity here inside the color picker as well with the I value here. But it's probably going to be a bit easier if you just do that via the energy multiplier right here. Now, if you're not actually seeing a glow around your object, that is because you need to enable the glow feature inside of the world environment node. Now, Over inside of Unity, we have our global volume, which has a volume profile, and this by default is going to have bloom enabled, which allows that screen effect. To enable that inside of Godot, what we need to do is go to our world environment node or create a new one. I've already gone ahead in this separate scene here, created a world environment node, and this allows us to have different screen effects, fog, a skybox, stuff like that. And we want to go down to where we have glow and make sure that glow is enabled here. And here you can then change all of the different settings related to glow. Now in Unity, this is known as bloom, but inside of Godot, it's known as glow. Okay, and that is how you can then get that glowing effect. So that is a look at how we can recreate materials inside of Godot from a Unity standpoint. And overall, it's a very similar process. But something else that's really cool is the fact that Godot's default material, its default shader, it has quite a few more features than Unity. Inside of Unity, if I select a material here, we are using the default lit shader, and although it has a lot of different features, you can choose transparency, metals, smoothness, you can have all the different sort of maps, it does lack in the built-in artistic features that Godot's default shader includes. So if we go back over to Godot and have a look at its material, so if I select the gold material here, for example, and go to the inspector, you'll see there are a bunch of other features here. We can add rim lighting, clear coats, subsurface scattering. There's a lot more features that Godot has in its default material. Now, of course, all of this can be done inside of Unity, but by default, Godot does provide more options. For example, we can go over to where we have, let's just go rim right here. And this is going to add a nice little rim light. And we can't actually see it because we need to go ahead and reduce the metallicness of our material down, but now you can see we have this nice little rim lighting around the outside, which could be good for a highlighting effect. If you want to highlight an object when you're hovering over it, for example, this could be a good way to do that. So you can see now how Godot's materials are quite advanced, and in many ways a bit more advanced than Unity's built-in ones, as they allow you to have more artistic features in your games by default. And something else that Godot has is something known as an overlay material. Now, if I select one of these meshes here, you'll see here that as well as having a material override, which basically sets that mesh's material, we have a material overlay. And this right here essentially is like putting another coat of paint over that mesh. This can be really good for detailed textures. So if you wanted to have blood or scars or some sort of wear and tear on a model such as a player character, you can do that with the material override. Hey everyone. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at how we can recreate a similar environment to this one inside of Godot by looking at the overall environment and lighting setup that the engine has and how it compares to Unity. So here inside of Unity, when we create a scene, we have our directional light, which provides lighting. We then also have a global volume, which acts as screen effects. So we can change the tone mapping, we can add bloom, a vignette, color adjustments, all these different things in the volume profile right here. Then over inside of the lighting tab, we can go to environment, and here is where we can enable and change fog. We can change the environment lighting. We can change the environment reflections as well. All these sort of environmental settings that we have to offer here. Okay, so inside of Godot, whenever we create a brand new 3D scene, you'll see that we essentially have nothing here. We have no nodes apart from our root node. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just add in those 3D models that we had before inside of Unity. Essentially, it's just a ground collider and the 3D model with the basic texture. You may be looking at this scene and going, hey, we've already got a skybox and we have our directional light added, but there are no nodes here. That is because by default, it's a bit deceptive in the fact that Godot provides a basic preview sun and world environment node for us here inside of the viewport. So up at the top here, you see these two buttons, toggle preview sunlight and toggle preview environment. Right now, both of these are enabled, meaning that the preview nodes are currently active. But if I disable them, this is what our scene actually looks like. And in fact, let's go ahead and create a camera node. Okay, and if I turn on the preview sun and preview environment and then go ahead and press play, what you'll notice is that we don't have those things in our current scene. So let's go ahead and untick those so we can see what our scene actually looks like. In doing this, this means we need to first of all add a directional light, then we need to add in a world environment node, which in a comparison to Unity is similar to both our lighting tab right here and our global volume, which allows us to apply screen effects. So let's start with the light. Just like in Unity, we're going to add a directional light right here. We can move it up, and again, just like in Unity, its position in 3D space does not matter. So let's just go ahead and rotate it so it is facing down on our environment right here, something like this. And you'll notice by default, there are no shadows. So to enable shadows, we want to go to the inspector, and here where it says shadow, we're going to turn that on just like that. And you can of course modify the shadow settings here as you would inside the directional light in Unity, okay? The settings are very similar, such as the normal bias, opacity, etc. Okay, you can also change the lighting colors. So if we open up light, here you can change the color as well as the energy, which is similar to intensity inside of Unity. Now let's look at our world environment. Now, what do we need a world environment node for? Well, like I mentioned, this is essentially the equivalent of our lighting window right here, as well as our global volume and as our skybox. Inside of Unity, I have this little sphere, basically so that we can have fog on our sky, but if I turn that off, you'll see we have a skybox here inside of Unity. Over inside of Godot, we don't actually have a skybox by default, it is just this blank void, and if I press play, you'll see that, yep, it's just a grey sky. So we need to create a world environment node. So for this, we're going to create a brand new world environment node. And like I mentioned, this is going to basically allow us to start tweaking and designing the look of our scene. So to begin, let's go over to the inspector, over to where we have the environment resource, and create a new one of those right there. Then we're going to open it up, and let's start by adding in a skybox similar to our basic Unity scene. Now for this, we're going to go to background and change the mode from clear color to sky. Now, this setting inside of Unity is actually on our camera. So if I select my main camera, you'll see down here in environment, we have our background type. And by default, it's skybox, or we can set this to be solid color. Essentially, anything that is not a game object in our scene is going to have that pixel rendered with either skybox or a solid color. And in Godot, that setting is here inside of background. So right now we can change the mode to custom color, which is like color inside of Unity, or sky to render the skybox. Now you'll see this changes the sky to black, and that is because we don't currently have a skybox. To create a skybox, we're going to open up the sky drop down here, go to where we have the sky resource, and create a brand new sky here. Then we're going to open that up. We need to set our sky material. This is equivalent of creating a material in Unity of type skybox with a skybox shader, but here we can create it as a sub-resource in Godot. And you can choose between 4 different types of skybox materials. Now in Unity, we have the same thing, which is a procedural skybox material, but if you have a texture, you might choose panorama sky material as you would inside of Unity. So we're going to select procedural sky material, and this is going to create a skybox very similar in look to Unity. You have the blue sky with the brown color below the horizon, okay? And this is essentially what we have in Unity. So now if I save and press play, you'll see, there we go, we have our skybox. Okay, so that is how we can set up our sky. Now, what about our different lighting settings? Okay, inside of Unity, if we go to our lighting tab, we have things such as environmental lighting, which determines the intensity or the amount of light that the skybox provides to our scene. What's the equivalent of that in Godot? Well, for this, we're going to go back to our background drop down here. And just underneath the mode, we have the energy multiplier, okay? And if I change this, this is going to change how much of our environment is going to be affected by the skybox light. And as you can see, we can change it by sliding it like so. Another feature we have inside of Unity is environment reflections. Now, at the moment, we don't really have anything shiny, but if I go ahead and just create a little 3D sphere right here, and give it a material. We have this nice little gold material. If I change the environment reflections right here, you can see that this basically changes how much of the skybox gets reflected on this object. In Godot, there's not really a way of adjusting the spectrum of the environment reflections. Rather, if we select world environment, we can go over to where we have reflected light. And right now, this is just going to be a specific source. So if we set it to background, again, this is going to be whatever we have set in background. But if I set disabled, that means there is going to be no reflected light. So unlike Unity, there isn't really a slider that you can adjust. The best way for this would really just to be adjusting the smoothness or the metallic levels of the material itself. Now, finally, we have fog. Now, inside of Unity, we have one type of fog, which is basically the cheap distance fog. This is fog that essentially, it samples the screen, it determines how far away a specific pixel is, and it colors it based on the fog settings here. Inside of Godot, we have something similar. So over inside of our world environment node, we can go down and enable fog right here. We can set the light color, so let's make it that purple color like before. And we can essentially do the exact same thing. So we can change the density here, and we can then change also the light energy and other settings here that Unity doesn't offer. So there's actually a bit more of adjustments you can make here. But something Godot also has, which is very cool, is volumetric fog. And volumetric fog adds more depth to the fog, okay? It's not just that if a pixel is a certain distance away, it gets tinted a certain color, but rather it allows fog to feel more immersive. So if we enable volumetric fog, you can see it adds quite a bit more. So if I change the albedo here to be that pink color, we can change, for example, the density, make it a bit thicker. We can adjust the ambient inject to make it a bit lighter, so the ambient light gets a bit brighter there. And this fog basically allows us to also interact with lights. Okay, you can kind of see here that the directional light, if we change this value right here, this essentially changes how much light scattering there is based on the direction from a light source. So as you can see, if I adjust this, it changes basically the amount of lighting. So if I bring it down to -9, it's going to be much darker towards the light source, whereas if I put it in the positive, it's going to be much brighter towards the light source. So this is much more environmentally reactive fog, which you don't really get with the default one, as this is just blanket fog over everything. So it is nice to have the difference there in Godot, being able to choose the two types of fogs. And there are plenty of other settings here inside of the world environment node. One more thing is that inside of Unity, by default, we have screen space ambient occlusion, which if you look at objects in the corners here, there is sort of like a little darkish tint, and this can be found over inside of your render settings. So if we go here and we go over to our renderer, you'll see inside of our renderer data here, we have screen space ambient occlusion, which we can adjust the settings here. Inside of Godot, the equivalent is going over to the world environment node and enabling SSAO, which is screen space ambient occlusion, and we can adjust all of those settings here as you would inside of Unity.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, you'll love Zenva Academy. 300 courses where you learn by actually building games. Links in the description.